As millions of Americans face losing critical food aid because of the government shutdown, Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer today says he is willing to vote for a Republican-led bill extending food stamp benefits.
He's pressuring Senate GOP leadership to bring the measure up for a vote, but Republican leader John Thune says the Senate will not consider standalone bills.
There's a bill right now from Senator Hawley, a Republican, a conservative Republican, that could ensure SNAP is funded. It has Republican and Democratic support. It's a bill I'd happily support and vote for. And as soon as Thune would let Hawley put it on the House floor, it will pass. Plain and simple.
If Democrats really want to fund SNAP and WIC, we have a bill for them. A clean, nonpartisan CR to fund SNAP, WIC, and the entire federal government.
The Trump administration has also said it will not dip into an emergency fund to keep the program running. We're joined now by Joel Berg, the CEO of Hunger Free America, and Kasey McBlais, a SNAP recipient concerned about losing her benefits. Kasey, thank you so much for being with us and really telling people what it's like here. So if you don't receive your SNAP benefits after Saturday, what happens to you and your family?
Oh, thank you so much for having me here. So losing SNAP for my family and my children would mean tightening our budget, of course. I won't let my children go hungry. They're going to be fed. So for me, it will be a matter of picking and choosing which bill I can go a month without paying. It will mean meal planning even more than I already do. I have a 7 and a 5-year-old. My 7-year-old has autism, ADHD, and anxiety. And so along with that comes some sensory sensitivities. Meal planning is already pretty challenging for him. So it will just look like, being more strategic than I already am.
Kasey, I wonder what your message is to President Trump and to lawmakers specifically on funding for SNAP, in part because so much of what we've heard regarding this government program, like from Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville, is that there's a lot of abuse and waste and fraud, and that a lot of folks are getting these benefits that don't deserve them. What's your response to that, and what do you say to these folks?
I think every system is bound to have some fraud and corruption. I think we all know that. But the majority of families like my own are not abusing the system. I am a working professional mom, a single mom. I work as many hours as I possibly can without having childcare. I live in a rural area in Maine, and there aren't any childcare options, especially one that can meet the needs of my autistic son. So the majority of us are not abusing the system. Where your neighbors, where your coworkers, where the parents at pickup, where Republicans, where Democrats, where independents, where foster and adoptive families, we all use SNAP. It is not a partisan issue.
Yeah, and Joel, Agriculture Secretary Rollins has told us that the USDA can't legally tap its contingency fund to pay for November benefits. Even if they could, it wouldn't be enough. How do you see it?
Well, President Trump told CNN just last Friday night that the federal government could and would. So I wish they'd get their story straight. I did work at USDA for 8 years, and I do believe they have administrative authority to do this. If they really believe they don't, then they should get Senator Thune, as Senator Schumer said, to bring this bill to the House floor. I know Senator King from Maine will vote for this. The question is whether Senator Collins will. 42 million Americans are about to lose $8 billion worth of food, and over 260,000 food retailers are about to lose that money. So this is an emergency, and frankly, the Republicans need to act now.
In speaking to Secretary Rollins yesterday, Joel, she deflected from the idea that there was a legal obligation for USDA to use that contingency fund. I believe it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $6 billion to fund SNAP, even though what would be required for November is something to the tune of $9 billion. This administration has used donations to pay members of the military. They have used tariff money to fund other interests. Is it really hard to believe that they wouldn't be able to find somewhere to funnel government funds to be put to a program that helps feed some 40 million Americans?
Your question, frankly, answers itself. They're giving tens of billions of dollars to Argentina to help an American billionaire, even though that's going to hurt American cattle producers. Obviously, if there was a will, there was a way. If President Trump and the Republicans in Congress wanted to make sure 42 million Americans wouldn't go hungry, they would ensure that today.
Kasey, we are so glad that you are here. You know, we talk so much about SNAP, and frequently we're not hearing from people who are on SNAP. And I know you've also said that you feel shame sometimes using SNAP. And I know there's a lot of people who feel that way. Can you tell us a little bit about that and maybe how that flares kind of in the middle of this debate, especially as there is a talking point out there that there's a lot of people abusing it?
I can, yeah. So I separated from my former husband in January of 2023. And after that happened, I applied for SNAP. And it was the first time in my life that I had ever applied for public assistance. I fought lots of feelings of shame and embarrassment, and I still do. The narrative that is out there that really just perpetuates the stigma that we're lazy, we don't want to work, that we feed our children junk food. It's frankly just not true, and it's harmful and it's very hurtful. And I think it helps to prevent, you know, families from really reaching out when they do need help. You know, access to food should be a human right. Children deserve food security. And, you know, I wish that folks would lead with compassion and assume positive intent.
Kasey McBlais, Joel Berg, thank you both for being with us. Please stay in touch as we get closer to Saturday to see if there is a resolution. We'd love to hear from you again.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much.